Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm sorry not being able to speak in German. I studied 6 years in Switzerland, and my first PhD was on Nietzsche's philosophy, and I lost everything. So this is the first thing to take, which is not my example for getting a language you have studied at school. And unfortunately, I'm obliged to speak in English. I was asked to speak about, do we have to speak about being European Muslims or being Muslims in Europe? And I think it's not by accident. 15 years ago, when I first wrote a book to be a European Muslim, I got some reactions from my fellow Muslims saying, no, you have to say being a Muslim in Europe. And I say, no, I am a European by culture, I am a Muslim by religion, I am a European Muslim. So it's not to be a Muslim somewhere else. This is home for me, and this is home for you, and this is home for us. As an introduction, I think it's really important to face the reality of being Muslims in European Muslims in our countries. And I heard, of course, that your situation in Austria may be better than others in other European societies. Still, if you look at what is going on now in the media and the mainstream media and media TV channels around the world, and especially in Europe, what we have to say is that the coverage of Islam and Muslims is mainly negative. So the perception the people around have on Islam and Muslims is negative, and we are facing this every day. Just arriving here, reading in a newspaper, a UK newspaper, The Times, an article saying the problem is not with radical Muslims, the problem is with Islam itself, because radical Muslims are in fact following the true message of Islam. You know that we have far-right parties, and something which has been normalized in the discourse in Europe about this. So the Muslims have two choices. The first one is to say, okay, look, the people around us don't like Muslims and they don't like Islam, and to nurture something which is a victim mentality. They don't like us, they don't like Islam, let us be among ourselves, to withdraw into ourselves and to be Muslims far from the society. This is the wrong answer. This is exactly what far-right parties want in our European society. So what I wanted to say is that what the Muslims should do is to refuse the victim mentality. It's not a question to be liked or not to be liked. It's a question of rights. It's a question of understanding. It's a question of self-respect. It's to stand up for our responsibilities as citizens, as Muslims, and to say, look, we are not going to accept you to target, you to promote a new racism. It's now time to live together, to respect each other, and to know each other. So to stand up for our responsibilities, the only right Islamic and positive answer the Muslims should promote, and not the victim mentality which is sometimes around in the Muslim communities in Europe. The second point is that what we have now normalized in the discourse is people coming to you and saying, you Muslims and us as Europeans. This us versus them, it's not acceptable. I am part of this new us. I'm not outside Europe. It's us as Europeans and us as Europeans, Muslims, atheists, Jews, Christians, and whatever you want to be, you are European. So when I'm speaking about human dignity, when I am speaking about justice, when I am speaking about equality, when I am speaking about shared values, when I'm saying and understanding what I heard from the Prophet of Islam, ﷺ, saying clearly to the Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to the Prophet, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We sent you as a mercy, but as a mercy for the world, not only for Muslims, not only to be isolated, but something which is a universal message for yourself and to share this message with others. Meaning what? To convert the people? No, to share our values, because the relationship between us and all the non-Muslims is mutual knowledge and shared values. Because this is the main teaching of Islam. If God had willed, He would have made you one community. وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَجَعَلَكُمْ أُمَّةً وَاحِدًا. He wanted diversity. And to tackle diversity is the only way for you is mutual knowledge, mutual respect, which is more than tolerance. More than tolerance. Tolerating someone, you can tolerate someone without knowing him. You cannot respect me if you ignore me. Respect is out of mutual knowledge. So come to that level of mutual knowledge to get mutual respect. This is why we think that we have a role here to play, which is our message is universal, and we find universal common values with Christianity, with Judaism, with atheism, with secular society. These are our values. So, when you come and we speak as Europeans and as Muslims, we don't speak as a minority obsessed with its own rights. We speak as citizens sharing majority values. And this is the way to get this confidence the Muslims should understand and should get, which is really important. And then to come and also to speak, to be able to say, look, by speaking we are spreading mutual knowledge, and by mutual knowledge, mutual respect, and by mutual respect, building the common future. Muslims must communicate more, and this is a call for the young Muslims. You have to speak. You are Austrian citizen. You have to stand up and to be able to say who you are, what you want, and how you work. The people are asking for that. If you disappear, they are building the story. If you speak, they are listening to your story. So this is the way forward, inshallah. Two main points, and I will end. And I want to thank the organizers for this invitation. And really, it's impressive to see so many people coming to this. You know, we have to talk, but we have to communicate. Can I give you an example? If you look at the French team, the French football team, you know the story about Zinedine Zidane. Let me speak about him just before the last story. Just during the last 10 years, what he was doing at that level in sport was, first, he was proud to be, and he still was proud to be, and is proud to be who he is. No problem with this. He was French, and he was working and acting and playing for France. So he was saying, I'm a Frenchman, I'm a French citizen. But what he was doing for the French team was, he was giving something to the French team. He was putting goals, he was helping to play well. When you give something to your team, nobody is coming to ask you, where do you come from? They are so happy to have you with them that they don't want about your past. When you are a problem, or where you are perceived as a problem, say, okay, where do you come from? You are a problem for me. But when you give, come on, come in. When you create a problem, you are perceived and we are asked, where do you come from? What the Muslims and the Austrian Muslims and the European Muslims should do is to give something, is to be here and to be active for the better. Meaning what? Not only to speak. What we need today is Austrian citizens, men and women, working for more social justice, for more dialogue between the people, for a pluralistic society. So you have to be involved in society, in civil society, not only in Islamic organizations, in every single organization promoting the principles you have when it comes to no racism, no discrimination, and to vote, to be citizen. You have to tell the people around you the best way to be a good citizen and a good Muslim in this country is to vote and to be active in your society. So this is contribution. And to go out of our intellectual ghetto, our cultural ghetto,